Hello everyone, welcome back. I just wanted to do this video about positioning of the patient. Going through the oblique positions and the lateral positions, how we name them, how we would use our left or right marker for those positions. And then I wanted to show you some rotation, how rotation would look on a chest x-ray and on an abdomen x-ray. So right now, the way that we're looking at the patient is we're looking at their spine. So we're looking at their back. So let's just imagine that the whiteboard that the patient is facing is, say, the bucky or the table where the patient is. Either they're standing at the upright bucky or facing the upright bucky, or they're laying face down on the table, and we are looking at their spine. We're looking at them from their back. That means the x-ray is going to enter the patient's back and exit their front. That is called a PA projection, posterior-anterior projection. Entering the body posteriorly, exiting the body anteriorly, PA projection. Now, if we rotate the patient into what we call an oblique, in this position, they would be called anterior obliques. We name our obliques. Now, obliques are the position, the name of a body position. So an anterior oblique, we name it by the anterior side is on facing the table or facing the upright bucky. The anterior side is facing the bucky or table. That's why we call it an anterior oblique. Then we go so far as to name it a right anterior oblique or a left anterior oblique. That will be determined by what side of the patient's body is rotated toward the upright bucky or rotated toward the table, depending on how you have your patient. So if I rotate my patient so that their right scapula, I took their arms off so that we could look at the ribs later, but so what I'm doing is I'm rotating. The right scapula is going toward the bucky, toward the whiteboard, towards the table. That is called a right anterior oblique. The left side is coming away from the bucky or the table. Right anterior oblique. Put them back in PA, straight PA position, straight PA projection. We're going to rotate the patient so that their left side goes toward the whiteboard, toward our imaginary upright bucky, or toward our imaginary table. Left anterior oblique. The patient's right side is rotating up away from our imaginary bucky / table, okay? So left anterior oblique. Notice the central ray will still be entering the patient's back. So both an LAO, left anterior oblique, and RAO, right anterior oblique, are PA projection. PA projection. The x-ray has to enter the patient's back it has to enter from the back, patient's back, and cross through their body to get to the table or the bucky. It's going to exit their anterior side. So the name of the position, this position here is RAO, right anterior oblique, with a posterior anterior projection. Projection is the path of the beam. The projection, it does not name the position of the body, okay? All right, so RAO, PA projection. LAO, PA projection. All right, so now let's turn our patient around. Now they're laying flat on their back, or they're standing with their back flat against our upright bucky, or if you're imagining them laying on the table, whatever's working for you. So, because we're going to do these kind of positions either upright or laying down on the table, so you have to kind of imagine it both ways when we're looking at it. So now we're facing our patient. Our patient's facing us. We're here, working the collimator box and the tube and putting our center ray on our patient. So now center ray is going to enter the patient anteriorly and exit them posteriorly. We call it an anterior posterior projection, AP projection. All right, but their back is against the bucky. So now I'm going to rotate them into obliques. So now look, our patient, now we're facing our patient and talking to them. It's like you're standing and talking to a person, right? So if this patient, raises their hand that's not there on this side, this is their left side, patient's left side. Over here, where I'm going to put this where it says body there, that's the patient's left side. Over here is the patient's right side. So when we look at our x-ray, we're going to see the left side over here and the right side over here, looking at the x-ray. So anterior posterior projection. So we are going to rotate our patient's left side, their back, against the IR, or our imaginary Bucky. So that would be a posterior oblique. The posterior side's touching the IR right now. So I'm going to rotate the left shoulder toward our upright Bucky or table, posterior side. So now the left posterior side is touching the wall Bucky. That is an LPO, left posterior oblique. The right side, patient's right side, is rotating up toward us, away from the Bucky. Put them back, AP projection. We're going to put them into an RPO, rotating the right shoulder toward the Bucky or the IR table, however you want to think about it. The posterior right side is touching the Bucky. That is an RPO, right posterior oblique. The left shoulder is rotating up away from the IR or Bucky. Right, so I hope this was helpful in learning the obliques. Now, the way that we name our laterals is, in this case, I have my patient, remember, this is their left side, this is their right side. So if I turn my patient like this and I put their left side against the Bucky, that would be a left lateral position, true lateral, all right, a true lateral. Patient's mid-sagittal plane would be parallel to the IR, left lateral. Put them back. AP projection, turn them so their right side is touching the Bucky. Now we call that a right lateral position. The projection in laterals is considered lateral. This would be considered a lateral projection beam. It's going to enter the one of the lateral sides and exit the other lateral side. So we just call it a lateral projection. On the torso, that's how we refer to it. It gets a little bit more complicated with the limbs when we start doing the limbs. Okay, also, let's do a little bit of rotation and look at what's happening at the ilium real quick before I end this video. All right, so down here at the ilium, we can follow elongation of the ilium as we rotate the patient here. So if you notice here at the ilium, we get elongation. This position is what? AP projection, left side rotating towards the IR, LPO position. Now the left ribs are elongated. Look at that. The left ribs look straight now. They don't even look curved anymore. That's how it's going to look on our x-ray. Left ribs elongated. Left ilium is also elongated. Rotate back. AP projection. RPO position. Right posterior oblique. Right rotation. Right posterior oblique. Now we have elongation of the right ribs. Elongation of the right ribs, elongation of the right ilium. That's how it's going to look on our x-rays when we do it. I'm going to turn this guy around like this. Do our PA projections. PA projections, rotating the patient into a left anterior oblique. This is our patient's left side. This is their left side. Left anterior oblique. Left side rotating down towards the IR. Now look what's happening. On a left anterior oblique, the right ribs will be elongated. The right ilium will be elongated. Rotate them back. PA projection, rotating the patient. This is their right side, rotating the right side towards the IR. Right anterior oblique, RAO, right anterior oblique. Look what happened. Left ribs are elongated. This is how it's going to look on our x-rays. Left ribs elongated, left ilium elongated. All right, so I hope that this was helpful, just kind of identifying the different oblique positions and seeing how the anatomical structures are going to change. The way that they look and the way we identify the anatomical structures will be different when we start rotating the patient into different positions, whether it be lateral, obliques, AP, or PA. We'll see some differences going on in the different parts of anatomy. So thank you for watching.